Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This was my final set before I was able to become ranked, and I wanted to make sure that I tried my hardest to really give out a good showing over here. Today we're going to be showcasing my ABB team, featuring Skarmory, Politoed, and Swampert. For those who haven't seen this team before or are unfamiliar with this ABB team, the idea is to lead with Skarmory and then to bait out a grass type or an anti-Swampert Pokemon with your Politoed. You would then farm down that grass type with your Skarmory because usually it would be a really easy one-sided matchup. Hope you enjoy the video and leave a like and subscribe if it's something that you like. So the first Pokemon I go against is a Cofagrigus, and what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to bait out a shield from him by charging my energy up to a Brave Bird first. If I can get a shield, I might try to go for a second Sky Attack to do extra damage, or I might switch out to Politoed depending on the situation. Since my opponent blocked over here, I'm actually just going to throw another Sky Attack and then switch directly into my Politoed and try to get a second shield out. That way that my Swampert can close out the game. I know this Cofagrigus is just loaded on energy, so I know it's not going to be a bait. I know it's going to be a Shadow Ball, and then he's going to switch out to his best response, which in this case is Scrafty. When I see Scrafty, I now know there's no real response to my Swampert because he didn't bring out a grass type. At this point, I know I've already won because Swampert can clear out and close the rest of this game. For those who weren't counting, I actually counted 5 counters, meaning that I know that that's going to be a power punch and not a foul play, because I know that I don't need to worry about blocking over here. Over here, you're actually going to see me over farm for my Weather Ball, because I know that he cannot get to a foul play. In addition to that, I want to make sure I have energy for the next Pokemon that comes out. I'm basically 2 Mudshots away from another Weather Ball. After this Vigoroth takes the Weather Ball over here, I know for a fact that both Vigoroth as well as Cofagrigus are actually 1 Hydro Cannon away from my Shadow Swampert. At this point, I'm basically going to make sure that I can get one off of both of them, and I should be able to win the game pretty easily. It's really important that I don't block this Vigoroth, because if I do, that means that if the Cofagrigus comes in, it can pretty much Shadow Ball and one hit my Shadow Swampert. Because I'm able to save that shield, I'm able to block this Shadow Ball and then go ahead and Hydro Cannon right away for the win. And there goes game 1. Game 2 actually starts with a more difficult lead. It's a Frostlass, so I'm going to immediately switch into my Politoed to get a full advantage on this Pokemon. He then responds with Medicham, which for me is actually fine because it's an under-leveled one. In addition to that, because I have so much energy, I'm not really worried about this Medicham. I can literally Weather Ball it down. I counted the attacks and I knew that was 5 counters, so this is going to be another Power Punch. Not worried about it at all. At this point, I charge up to 2 Weather Balls, and I'm going to start throwing them out as fast as possible, solely because I know that these counters are going to start adding up. Additionally, I know my opponent's energy is starting to build, and they're going to try to shoot for another Power Punch. I'm not going to block this because I know it's going to be another Power Punch, and I'm okay with letting my Politoed go. The thing is, I noticed that my Politoed doesn't go down right away, so I switch into Skarmory to finish it off before it can get a real attack in. So I see Impeti here with Frostlass, which is expected. I know that I can survive 1 Avalanche, so I'm going to charge up to a Brave Bird and try to fake out another Brave Bird. I know they have to block here because if they don't, I can basically farm down with Skarmory. Because they block it, I'm going to go ahead and go for another Sky Attack because I know that Sky Attack will in fact take it out. Because I have another attack ready to go, I'm okay with blocking this even when I'm solo. So I'm going to go ahead and use Sky Attack, and then I'm going to switch directly into my Swampert to go ahead and start getting ahead on energy. The thing is, I didn't even know that they caught the charge me, so I'm going to go ahead and let Swampert come in and let this first charge attack go because I know it won't kill me. At this point, I have to once again get ready for 2 charge attacks as quickly as possible. So I'm going to overfarm again and make sure that I get to this Hydro Cannon before they get to an Aqua Tail. With the Drapion out of the way, I know for a fact that I can go ahead and block this Avalanche and then go ahead and go for the win with Hydro Cannon. And there goes game 2. In match 3, my opponent's going to start off with a Politoed, and with a Politoed, I have to stay in for a little bit. Long story short, he's going to try to throw as many spam Weather Balls as he can, and on my side, I want to basically try to get off a shield with Skarmory. If I can do that, we can be in a good position for this game. Alternatively, I can try to catch a charge move on my Politoed, but that's usually really difficult because Politoed can launch every 8 turns, and 3 of my attacks take 9 turns. This makes catching really hard. I Sky Attack here hoping to bait because I know my opponent is loaded on energy and probably doesn't want to lose the lead over here with Politoed. At this point, I'm pretty committed because of the amount of energy I have, so I have to block this or it will take me out. Since I have loaded energy because I farmed down the Politoed, I'm okay, and when he brings the Stunfisk, I switch out right away to my Politoed. Because I overfarmed and my opponent is switching out, I'm pretty confident that they had no real response to Swampert, meaning that I'm less willing to block for my Politoed, even though I know this is likely going to be an Earthquake. When Alolan Ninetales comes out, I know that I pretty much won because my Skarmory can take it out pretty easily. After getting some chip damage, my Skarmory comes back out, and I know that I'm pretty close to having 2 charge attacks. With 2 Sky Attacks charged up, I'm going to do 1 Sky Attack to take the shield away, and a second Sky Attack will bring it low enough that I can actually farm down with Swampert. My opponent throws a charge move, but that's okay because I know that Swampert can actually farm it down. When my opponent sees the Swampert, they know that I can outpace the Stunfisk to a Hydro Cannon, so they go ahead and surrender the game. In game 4, I go against a Lickitung, which unfortunately I'm not too familiar with. I know that Lickitung is super tanky and the Lick will add up. On my side though, I know I don't have to block anything because both Power Whip and Body Slam are heavily resisted here. Because of how tanky both these Pokemon are, it's basically a tickle fight between 2 tanks. As I'm throwing moves against this Skarmory, I'm constantly thinking when do I need to switch in my Politoed, and the reason is because if there is a grass lineup or a grass Pokemon in the back, I have no way of winning if I keep this up. At this point, I'm going to do a final charge move and then switch into my Politoed because if I get a shield, that's fine. I can then go ahead and put pressure with Weather Ball, or I can farm it down. When they bring out Azumarill, I know that I'm in a really bad position, but it's for me better that they see the Politoed and have to go against the Politoed instead of going against the Swampert. The funny thing is that because I've seen so many Azumarills recently, I've been generally considering changing to my Earthquake Politoed, but in reality it might not be worth it just because Blue is so effective against those flyers like Mandibuzz as well as those grass Pokemon like Venusaur. I will admit that I am very surprised at how many Pokemon aren't worried about getting Earthquaked by a Politoed, especially a Shadow one. My strategy here is to basically chip down this Azumarill as much as possible and eventually letting my Politoed die. The reason for this is because once again, since there is no real hard counter to Politoed, I know that there is no real hard counter to Swampert. This means that Swampert can likely close out the game by outpacing most Pokemon and doing a ton of damage with Hydro Cannon. After about 1 billion Weather Balls, I can finally take out this Azumarill. They still have 1 shield left, but I doubt they'll block a Weather Ball for it, and probably try to farm down my Politoed afterward. Because I see it's a Medicham immediately, I switch into my Skarmory in hopes to get a quick charge move to take the last shield out. With this shield down, it means that I have smooth sailing to actually take it out. With shields down, it means that I can now freely just double block for my Swampert and then go ahead and Hydro Cannon down twice, and that will be game. There's the first shield, and there's the second shield. I'd block these even if they were power punches, just because it's just slightly less damage at that point. And there goes game 4. In game 5, my opponent opens with a Dragalge. This is actually a good matchup for me. The Aqua Tails do hurt, but it's not so bad that I have to worry about it. At this point, I'm just going to do the best I can to charge up energy and get some Sky Attacks off. The idea here is to get a shield down and to get it to farm down reach for either Politoed or Swampert. The concern I am having though is that if I play this incorrectly, and once again, if they have a grass Pokemon in the back, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. So I don't want to expend too much of my Skarmory's health right now. This charge move gives our first shield, so we're going to go ahead and try to go for a second shield or try to take it out. I do this second charge move a little early because I'm concerned about an Aqua Tail, and the thing is that this is actually leaving me a little too low. My opponent brings out a Medicham and is able to completely farm me down before I can get a charge move. I know my opponent has 3 charges, but I'm not really concerned about a Psychic or Ice Punch. Unfortunately, this ends up being a Dynamic Punch, and that hurts a lot. Luckily, Politoed still has a lot of shield pressure because of Weather Ball. Because he lets both Weather Balls go, I'm going to farm it down with Swampert so that I have extra energy for the last Pokemon that he has. I know I have to block this even if it's a Power Punch because no matter what, it's going to do a lot of damage. It ends up being a Dynamic Punch, but it doesn't matter. When Nidoqueen shows up, I know that the game is won because I outpace it to a second Hydro Cannon and I can still farm down the Medicham. And there goes game 5. And just like that, you go 5-0. With this team, I actually went 14-1 yesterday. It ended me with a rating at around 20-80, I think, at the end of the night. I can easily see why these are some of the most commonly used Pokemon in the game. In every single matchup, I had at least some play, and even in the bad matches, I would have play as well. If you have these mons at your disposal, I highly recommend trying it. It is a solid team. If you liked the video, go and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it on my side. Helps create traffic and helps my content get out there as well. I'll try to post more frequently, so go ahead and subscribe so you know when those videos are coming out. I usually give weekly updates on Pokemon that are really good for battle that week, and I plan to do more videos on techniques that you can actually use in the Battle League yourself. Thanks for tuning in, and I wish you the best luck in your climb.